All right, so Anthropic has announced Project Glasswing, which they are calling an urgent initiative to help secure the world's most critical software. They state it's powered by their newest frontier model, which is called Claude Mythos Preview, which can find software vulnerabilities better than all but the most skilled humans. They state here we've partnered with Amazon Web Services, Apple, Broadcom, Cisco, CrowdStrike, Google, JP Morgan Chase, the Linux Foundation, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and Palo Alto Networks. They state together we'll use Mythos Preview to help find and fix flaws in the systems on which the world depends. So you can see the list of the companies here. And they state Mythos Preview has already found thousands of high severity vulnerabilities, including some in every major operating system and web browser. So interesting that Anthropic is coming out with this, especially since Mythos has been rumored about and been talked about as a potential new model for a few, I'd say, weeks to months now. So let's look at Project Glasswing from their documentation and let's dive a little bit deeper. So they state Claude Mythos Preview is a general purpose unreleased frontier model that reveals a stark fact. AI models have reached a level of coding capability where they can surpass all but the most skilled humans at finding and exploiting software vulnerabilities. Mythos Preview has already found thousands of high severity vulnerabilities, including some in every major operating system and web browser. The fallout for economies, public safety, and national security could be severe. Project Glasswing is an urgent attempt to put these capabilities to work for defensive purposes. They state we also have extended access to a group of over 40 additional organizations that build or maintain critical software infrastructure so they can use the model to scan and secure both first-party and open-source systems. Anthropic is committing up to $100 million in usage credits for Mythos Preview across these efforts, as well as $4 million in direct donations to open-source security organizations. They state here that no one organization can solve these cybersecurity problems alone. Frontier AI developers, other software companies, security researchers, open source maintainers, and governments across the world all have essential roles to play in protecting this technology and the systems that we are currently using. For cyber defenders to come out ahead, we need to act now, they stated. So when we dive a little bit deeper, they state on the global stage, state-sponsored attacks from actors like China, Iran, North Korea, and Russia have threatened to compromise the infrastructure that underpins both civilian life and military readiness. They state with the latest frontier AI models, the cost, effort, and level of expertise required to find and exploit software vulnerabilities have all dropped dramatically. So this is huge developments we're hearing about. Claude Mythos Preview demonstrates a leap in these cyber skills. The vulnerabilities it has spotted have in some cases survived decades of human review and millions of automated security tests, and the exploits it develops, are increasingly sophisticated. They state 10 years after the first DARPA Cyber Grand Challenge, frontier AI models are now becoming competitive with the best humans at finding and exploiting vulnerabilities. This could make cyber attacks of all kinds much more frequent and destructive and empower adversaries of the United States and its allies. They state, although the risk from AI augmented cyber attacks are serious, there is reason for optimism. The same capabilities that make AI models dangerous in the wrong hands make them invaluable for finding and fixing flaws in important software, and for producing new software with far fewer security bugs. So that's been something that I've been seeing since this drop. Most people are potentially saying this is the AI that's going to be checking and verifying if the new AI models that come out are safe enough because they're going to have so much power. This was a video here, a 5-minute video about Project Glasswing. You can go watch that on YouTube if you're interested. It's potentially saying the same things that we're discussing here. Over the past few weeks, Anthropic said we have used Claude Mythos Preview to identify thousands of zero-day vulnerabilities, that is, flaws that were previously unknown to the software developers, many of them critical in every major operating system and every major web browser, along with a range of other important pieces of software. They state it was able, Mythos that is, to identify nearly all of these vulnerabilities and develop many related exploits entirely autonomously. And that's the key. We're moving into an autonomous future where AI and AI agents are basically doing everything that a human can do, but better. And so it didn't need any human steering to find these vulnerabilities and exploits. Here we see Mythos Preview found a 27-year-old vulnerability in OpenBSD, which has a reputation as one of the most security-hardened operating systems in the world and is used to run firewalls and other critical infrastructure. The vulnerability allowed an attacker to remotely crash any machine running the operating system just by connecting to it. That's huge. It also discovered a 16-year-old vulnerability in FFmpeg, which is used by innumerable pieces of software to encode and decode video. In a line of code that automated testing tools had hit 5 million times without ever catching the problem. And the model autonomously found and chained together several vulnerabilities in the Linux kernel, the software that runs most of the world's servers, to allow an attacker to escalate from ordinary user access to complete control of the machine. So they're stating, we have reported the above vulnerabilities to maintainers of the relevant software, and they have all now been patched. So you can think about how huge this is going to be for the companies that are using this technology, but huge for the technology going forward in general. Like AI just continues to exponentially advance. So here we have some stats. Cybersecurity vulnerability reproduction. You have CyberGen, Mythos Preview, 83%, Opus, 66%. We got a quote here from Cisco saying AI capabilities have crossed a threshold that fundamentally changes the urgency required to protect critical infrastructure from cyber threats. Like, it's something that you pretty much can't ignore, is what they're saying at this point. And Anthropic said the powerful cyber capabilities of Claude Mythos Preview are a result of its strong agentic coding and reasoning skills. For example, as shown in the evaluation results below that we're going to get into, the model has the highest scores of any model yet developed on a variety of software coding tasks. So after that leak, after that Claude code leak, and everybody was basically speculating on Mythos, well, now we have numbers, okay? Software Engineering Bench Pro, 77% goes to Mythos. Opus, 53%. Terminal Bench 2.0, 82% Mythos, 65% Opus. SWE Bench Multimodal, 59% Mythos, 21% Opus. And then we got SWE Bench Multilingual, 87% Mythos, 77% Opus. Mind you, these are numbers coming from Anthropic, so we can take with this information and do it what we want with it, what we will with it, but here we are. SWE Bench Verified, Mythos, 93%, Opus, 80%. So we can clearly see that the technology is advancing, and Anthropic says we do not plan to make Claude Mythos Preview generally available, and I can see why. I mean, it's touted to be extremely powerful, and Anthropic is known to be security focused and wanting to make sure things roll out correctly. And that's basically what they're saying here. We don't plan on making it generally available, but our eventual goal is to enable our users to safely deploy Mythos class models at scale for cybersecurity purposes, but also for the other benefits that such highly capable models will bring. And they're stating to do this, we need to make progress in developing cybersecurity safeguards and detect and block these models' most dangerous outputs. So They also state here, Project Glasswing partners will receive access to Claude Mythos Preview to find and fix vulnerabilities, weaknesses, and exploits. Anthropic's commitment of $100 million in model usage credits is going to Project Glasswing, and additional participants will cover substantial usage throughout this research preview. And they're basically saying within 90 days, Anthropic will report publicly on what they've learned, as well as the vulnerabilities fixed and improvements made that can be disclosed. They state, we will also collaborate with leading security organizations to produce a set of practical recommendations for how security practices should evolve in the AI era. They talked about securing critical infrastructure as a top national security priority. We know what happened with the Department of Defense or Department of War, whatever you want to call it, and the government basically stating that Anthropic was a supply chain risk. But Anthropic as a whole, it seems, is more focused on just security as a whole, not really playing too much into that situation, and still focusing on government's roles and helping maintain that lead when it comes to having a decisive lead over other adversaries when it comes to the capabilities of AI technology. And the government they're speaking on, of course, is the United States. So they're basically saying the government needs to continue to maintain a lead, and in both assessing and mitigating the national security risk associated with AI models. So very huge update here. Very interesting that Anthropic has dropped this at this moment right now. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. Are you interested in the power of Mythos? If you like this video, let me know. Subscribe. If you have any ideas or topics you want to hear discussed on the channel, go ahead and drop them in the comment section below, and I'll see what I can do.